Hi everybody, I'm starting this review with a big disclaimer. Whether reviews are actually any use to help you buy a game that you'll enjoy is highly questionable. It's all subjective, so I wanted to tell you a little about myself so you can decide if my opinions might align with yours, if the games I like might be similar to the games that you like, if what I think about Modern Warfare could be similar to what you would think once you've bought and played the game. So, I'm in my late 40s. I came back late to video games because I stopped playing video games about halfway through the PlayStation 2 era and only came back once the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 had been released. And that was because my son Oliver very kindly donated me his old Xbox 360 and all his games because he didn't need them anymore. And using the 360 I played through all the campaigns of all the Call of Duties. Mainly I didn't really play any other games, but my son encouraged me to have a go at online multiplayer, and this was around the time of the release of Advanced Warfare, and I was playing it on the 360. And once I learnt the mechanics, which took a long time, I loved multiplayer, and I loved that game as well. And then I got Black Ops 3 on the Xbox 360. You might remember it came out on 360 and Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3. And I also went back and played online on Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, and I enjoyed doing that. And I dabbled online with the Modern Warfare series as well. But remember, those games hadn't been out for a while. There was some hackers around. World at War there was as well. So, and the people that have been playing those games have been playing them for an awful long time. But then I made the plunge and bought a PlayStation 4 for myself with Black Ops 3, sort of the new generation version, and I put hundreds, if not thousands, of hours into that and absolutely loved it. Then discovered Battlefield 4 when it went cheap in a sale, and oh god, fell in love with that franchise. Put hundreds and hundreds of hours into that. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare came out and I hated it. Then we had Battlefield 1 came out, which I've got to say is probably my favourite respawn shooter ever. Absolutely amazing game. Love it to death. Love it more than Battlefield 4. Then we did we have the okay-ish COD World War 2 next? But that was overshadowed for lots of people, including myself, with PUBG when it came out on console. And I bought an Xbox One to play PUBG on console. Blew me away. And then obviously it came out on the PlayStation afterwards as well. In my opinion, PUBG is probably, well, no, it definitely is the best multiplayer video game ever made. Period. It's amazing. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 came out and it was good. I think it was my game of the year 2018. And then we had Battlefield 5, which was kind of promising. They improved it, but overall has become a terrible disappointment with lack of content and the introduction of loads of nasty stuff, making money for EA, so don't like that one. And now I play a lot of DayZ as well, and that would be my adventure game of choice. So, as you can kind of tell, I like reality-based shooters where tactics and strategy matter more than amazing gun skills. I would choose to play PUBG over Apex Legends or Fortnite. I would choose to play DayZ over Skyrim or The Witcher. I would choose, say, Sniper Elite over Halo. So, that's enough about me. So let's crack on with the review, and you can kind of decide whether you think my opinions might align with what yours possibly could be about this game. Now, what you're watching here, this is Gunfight, the new 2v2 mode introduced in Modern Warfare 2019. And it's random guns every other round, it's no health regeneration, it's teamwork, it's patience, it's listening, it's waiting, and it's thinking, and it's absolutely amazing. Gunfight's a fascinating and unexpected addition to the franchise, and it's fundamentally what Call of Duty is all about this year. A slower, more tactical multiplayer that rewards considered and thoughtful play and punishes brutally run and gun fast twitch reaction players. Sure, you can run and gun in gunfights and you'll probably get the odd win, but it's the players who stop, look, listen, Think about the guns they've got, and therefore what the guns the enemies have got. Think about the tacticals and lethals they've got. Think about what the enemies have done in the previous rounds, and how maybe you could take advantage of that in the next rounds. Thinking about what your partner is doing. All this sort of stuff. Very tactical, very strategic. Now, you're probably hearing an amazing amount of negativity about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 when it comes to the multiplayer from popular YouTubers, streamers on Twitch, and video game players on Mixer 2, because the vast majority of them, as far as I can see, they cannot stand this slower gameplay. They're all raging that they can't create amazing run and gun montage videos where they can slide around the map going on these immense streaks and calling in door gunners, airstrikes, and ultimately nukes. They're railing and raging against footsteps that are too loud. They don't like the complex maps. They don't like the claymores. And they don't like the campers. Do not believe a word of it. Their concerns do not apply to the majority of Call of Duty players. Most of us simply haven't got the time to practice for hundreds of hours, and most of us don't have a YouTube or a Twitch channel that relies on creating stunning run and gun exciting gameplay that's viewer and, importantly, like button and share button friendly. For most of us, this is an amazing Call of Duty. And that slower, more considered gameplay is still just as much fun, but in a different way. And I think, this also makes it a lot more rewarding to play too. In my opinion, this is without a doubt the best Call of Duty of this generation, and one of the best Call of Duties ever. So, let's take a step back, because Call of Duty is not just about multiplayer. We've got the campaign and special ops, and they're pretty good too. Actually, I'm short selling the campaign actually, because it looks and sounds amazing, and some of the missions are exceptional, up with the best that Call of Duty has ever offered. Others are standard Call of Duty, push, kill some enemies, flank, kill some enemies, unlock the next bit, very kind of linear. But what I think is consistent is the emotion and passion sewn into the storyline. The campaign deals not only with some heavy and controversial issues, but tries, and I think succeeds, as far as a Call of Duty can succeed, to give your character some strong motivations to what they do. And corny as it might be, I love the cutscenes and the whole vibe of the campaign, with certain parts sending chills down my spine. I finished the campaign with a massive smile on my face, happy that Infinity Ward had made this year's Call of Duty a reimagining of Modern Warfare, but the twist that puts that assumption into question made me smile even more, and it made me look forward to the next instalment with Captain Price. Spec Ops, or the cooperative mode, is fun with friends, but it's pretty hard when you're by yourself. Well, almost impossible. And we've got a couple of versions of Survival if you're on PlayStation 4, and if you're on PC or Xbox, you've just got the classic version, which is good enough. And then you've got the online co-op modes that are these massive missions that will challenge the way you work with your teammates, with your friends, the way that you stealth, the way that you use your gun skills. And I'll admit that I haven't completed any of these. I've had a go, we've had an immense laugh, but I think these Spec Op missions are going to be challenges right up to the release of the next Call of Duty next autumn. The multiplayer, though, is what most of us will spend our time in, and honestly, it's so good. As I mentioned, and we've seen, there's the gunfight mode, 2v2. There's all the regular modes like TDM, Domination, Free-for-all, Search and Destroy, all that sort of stuff. But now, in TDM and Dom, we've not only got 6 versus 6, we've got 10 versus 10. And to top it all off, there's the amazing Battlefield in the Bottle 32 versus 32 ground war mode. An amazing cinematic experience full of absolute chaos battlefield moments, and more fun than should be legally allowed in a video game. I challenge any fan of Battlefield 4 not to be sucked in by the sheer scale of ground war. There's helicopters buzzing around, tanks charging across the map, jets screaming in, and gunfire everywhere. You can push hard down the centre to capture the flags, or you can flank around to take out enemy infantry or vehicles. And the question of Battle Royale not being included at launch, or perhaps there isn't going to be one in this Call of Duty, is now irrelevant. because this is so much more fun. And if Infinity Ward adds some more maps, Ground War, all the better. But even with just the chaotic 2 we've got right now, I am super happy. So, Gunfight is brilliant, Ground War is stunning, but it's the regular modes that keep pulling me back in. I play Team Deathmatch and Domination on 6 vs 6 and 10 vs 10 in hardcore and normal modes, mostly normal modes. And I think this is the most fun in a Call of Duty I think I've ever had. Sure, some of the games of TDM turn into sniper battles from the back of the map, but then you've just got to adjust your strategy, you know, maybe snipe back at them or try and flank them. Domination games often remind me of playing Rainbow Six Siege, where you're kind of creeping around, listening for the enemy, trying to get an angle, trying to figure out where they are. Then all of a sudden everything explodes into gunfire and explosions and grenades going off, and then everybody regroups and it goes quiet again. And the cycle kind of repeats. And it is so much rewarding, and as I said, so much fun. The maps in Modern Warfare vary in size and complexity, but if you play for a couple of hours a day when you start and you've got the game, you'll get to know them, and in most cases you'll start to understand how differently they all play. There's Azir Caves, which is often a slow game of cat and mouse. Euphrates Bridge, probably my favourite, which is a large but simple map with epic domination battles. There's the fighting to hold the centre in TDM in Ania Palace, the chaos of Piccadilly Circus, and I think the brilliance of the Grozny raid map. When I first started playing the multiplayer maps, I had definite favourites and maps I didn't like, but the more I played, I realised that the reason I didn't enjoy them is because I really didn't understand them, and I had to adjust my playstyle and get to know the flow of how people moved around those maps, and, you know, the peak points and the window points that you've got to keep an eye on. Sure, there's things that need adjusting in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The spawn points, the power of shotguns, the crazy call-outs players do automatically, contacts that give your position away. But the rest is, I think, already pretty much spot on. I love the sound levels. I love that the minimap is pretty simple. You know, your gunfire doesn't appear on the minimap. So if you get round the back and start flanking people and shooting them, you don't suddenly appear on their minimap unless they've got a UAV up, which I think is pretty cool. Infinity Ward, we're pretty sure are going to change that though. I just hope that Activision Infinity Ward don't screw this Call of Duty up by pandering to those YouTubers and Twitch influence that I mentioned earlier, by taking away this, you know, really is a small amount of realism in this game, and making it easier for them to charge around the map running and gunning by making footsteps quieter and making it less easy for the person who is in cover to have the advantage, which is the way it should be, shouldn't it? If you're in cover and someone's attacking you, you should have the advantage, not the person who's attacking you, unless they choose to, you know, throw a stun on you, throw a smoke down, or throw a flashbang or something like that. In conclusion then, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 is quite simply, in my opinion, the best Call of Duty of this generation, and to be honest, I think it's one of the best Call of Duties ever made. If you're a shooter fan, if you're a Call of Duty fan, if you haven't got it already, come on, buy it now. Okay, that's enough from me. Quite passionate there about this game, I am. It's because there's been so much negativity towards it, and I think it's amazing. And it's all these people going, oh, there's too many and the funny thing is, you'll see these people going, oh, there's too many claymores and too many shotguns, and you'll see them running around with shotguns and claymores, and you think, well, I did do a video about this, I'm kind of repeating myself, but it's like, well, if you don't like shotguns and claymores, don't use them. You know, use a different class and come up with a technique or a strategy for dealing with them. You know, I think this is, anyway, I think this is absolutely amazing. I enjoy it so much. Anyway, okay, so, as I said, that's enough for me. Put your questions and comments down below. What do you think about Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2019? Are you going to buy it? Have you bought it? And of course, if you've enjoyed the video, hit like. And if you want to see more of the same from an old COD gamer, then please hit the subscribe button. Brilliant. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon.